Hello and welcome back to LDC FM. You're tuning into our podcast featuring interviews with our community of independent designers and industry guests. We'll be discussing topics of sustainability, conscious design, the future of fashion, tech, and innovation. This podcast has been recorded alongside an Instagram Live, so apologies for any technical issues prior to tuning in. Thank you for listening.
Hi there everybody, and welcome back to another live. My name is Giulio Baltramo and I'm the brand and content creator at Lone Design Club. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Maria from St Hilaire, and we're going to be talking a bit more about her brand, where her background, all the amazing information about all the little information that you would love to find out. We're so excited to have her join with us. I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday wherever you are. Let's kick into it. Hello.
Hi there. Hi, Giulio.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Not bad considering this crazy time we're going through right now.
So strange. I can't believe it. But thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you on LDC on our little Instagram live channel, and to talk about St Hilaire. Yeah, of course. It's so excited. I mean, you have a fantastic brand and you've been on our site for a couple of months now. And I mean, let's just dive into it because there's so much to talk about. And again, welcome everybody. Yes. We're going to be talking about the brand St Hilaire. We're here with the creator, Maria, and we're going to be finding out all the background information, all the processes, the inspiration, the background of the designer, and we'll end off with what the future holds for St Hilaire, which is super duper exciting. So let us kick off with your background. Can you give us all an introduction to yourself? Who are you? Where are you from? Where are you based? And what is your background in fashion?
Okay, so I studied fashion at Oxford College of Further Education, and then to further my pattern cutting skills I studied at the London College of Fashion, and then 5 years ago I did a master's in design education, and we'll talk about that a bit later because that's kind of what's put me where I am today.
Amazing.
So I did about 20 years in the business.
Wow.
And I started in the back room, so to speak. I even did a little bit of millinery. You know, back then, if you had the pattern cutting skills as a designer, it was far easier to get work, because if you're looking at getting in to working with one of the big designer brands, it's very, very difficult. So you have to have another path. So so that means I'm looking at the high street. So my experience in the business was really designing for the high street. So I understand that bit side of the market very well. Okay. So I started off as a finisher. I then went, I worked for, let me just go back a bit. I worked for a few of the fashion houses that were around at that time. I'm going back a long time. My history is long, so I'm going to try and keep it tight.
Dive into it, yeah.
And so I started off as a finisher, and then I got promoted to being the sample machinist. And then I went on to being, this is all with one company. And then I went on to be an assistant designer. And then I moved on and I got my first design role. So for the last 14 years of the 20 that I was in the business, that's what I was doing. And I suppose in those 14 years, I worked for 3 different fashion houses.
Amazing.
Serving the high street,
And that's like a fantastic background to have in your assets going into creating your own brand, which I believe you started in 2017, was it?
I did. I started in 2017, and believe it or not, I actually launched with the LDC, the Lone Design Club, London Fashion Week pop-up store.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we had the option to do the presentations as well. So I did my little show, and we had a good crowd, and it was a really good day, and it was such a lovely way to launch, because then you're with other designers at the same time. Some were launching, some were established already. So it was good.
And I mean, that's also as the thing at LDC that we do is like that community space for all these different designers to engage with each other and find out all that fantastic information. So that's so great. And so tell us a bit about the inspiration behind the name and what was like the foundation and inspiration behind the actual brand itself.
Okay, so first of all, the name is actually my family name.
Oh, wow.
So it is my family name. So from my father's side, obviously. So, so that was why I pulled on the name. I thought it just, for this business, it just had such a beautiful flow to it.
It does,
so,
it does.
Yeah.
What I love about the name is it's got like geographical, but also like kind of loads of other different implications. There's like a personal element, there's a sainthood to it. It's like, it's very multifaceted, which I think is like a really phenomenal thing. As you say, in this industry, the name also becomes something because it's like everything under which the whole brand sits. So it's really cool.
So what I was going to say is, I told you that I did a master's degree in design education. And I did my thesis on sustainable fashion.
Oh, wow.
So my tutors was like, no, it's such a big subject. Are you sure?
Yeah.
But boy, did it open a can of worms for me. Can you imagine my experience of serving the high street and then looking at all the sort of issues around it today, the knowledge we have today with social media, generally it's informing us as to what is actually happening. So I'd always wanted to have a business. It was a question of when. And that all that I learned about sustainable fashion and all the issues around it, not the sustainable fashion issues created by the high street, the throwaway fashion, the fast fashion, call it whatever you like, mass produced industry, really inspired me. Because when you're doing a business, it has to have a purpose, and you know, the why, for want of a better word, as to behind the brand. So I looked at things from landfills all the way through to anorexia. And so I thought, well, what will you do so that you can sit under the umbrella of sustainability? I do not claim to have it 100% right at this point. We're still a new business, and so we've got plenty of room to grow. So I thought about all the women I've worked with over the years and all the friends I've supported over the years. I want a dress, I go out shopping, I can't find anything that fits, I'm too fat, I'm too this. And I'll say, it's not you. It is not you. It's just the way fast fashion works. This is how mass-produced garments work. So, so when I was, well, who is it for? And I've said it's for the modern day woman, because it's not really about age anymore. It's about how you feel. Women have come a long way. And we do have big careers and, you know, independent lives. And so I was really thinking about that woman, a woman who wants to lead, the woman that sees herself as an individual. She wants something special. It's not necessarily on trend, but something different, something that a mass of people are not going to have when you go to that gig, party. You know, you can stand out as an individual. So this is a powerful lady, you know, and I see myself in that category because I have the same problems. And it doesn't matter whether you're tall, short, a little bit more curvaceous, a little thin. It's to get something to fit you correctly on the high street is difficult.
It's really hard.
So fortunate, because I have the skills to make the patterns. I really did think of the cut, really thought of a woman's form. How does this sit on a woman? So I really played around with it quite a bit before I got those shapes, the foundation of the brand in place. So, and I love color, you know.
That's like a very,
A
like,
lot of women are
yeah,
so afraid of color, but it's so therapeutic.
yeah.
You know,
I mean, I'm a
kind
big
of
fan
color therapy.
thinking. And I think it's like it really stands out and it's bold and like it comes through a lot in your patterns and your textiles, which is something that I wanted to come. So how can you talk us through the like material process and like how you come to like designing and choosing your fabrics and stuff? Because I mean it's such a bold like color palette and it's just so
Yeah.
fantastic. So if you could tell us a bit more about
Oh,
that.
yeah, sure. I've been fortunate and I have traveled pretty much around the world. And my part of my job, actually, when I was working in the industry, was to travel and people watch. Amazing,
I love
amazing.
it.
So I still have this habit whenever we travel, it drives my husband insane. Look at that dress. Look at the way she's wearing that. Oh my goodness, I never would have thought to put that print with that print. If you look at architecture and all the different textures that it has,
Yeah,
and all the different layers, I mean, buildings do speak volumes. I am fascinated with
no,
architecture.
it is.
And
Yeah.
then there's nature. You travel around the world, you see all these beautiful birds, an array of colors within their feathers, their beaks, whatever. So I look at all of those things. And art, if you look at art, whilst it's still on the wall, wherever, a statue, whatever,
Yeah.
it tells a story, right?
Yeah.
And and it has movement. So all those things inspire me. So the first thing I like to do is to go fabric shopping.
Yes.
Now, as a small business, it's very difficult to find companies where you can actually buy limited quantities.
Yeah.
But I was fortunate enough to find a couple of places in London that I visit. And there's a store here that I go to for all my Japanese foils. It's the best. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Every color under the sun. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Put me in a material shop. I'm like a child in a sweet shop. You know, I want this, I want that. Oh, that's lovely. I'll have this. I go a bit crazy, so I do have to kind of rein
I
myself
know you
back a
can
little
spend
bit.
hours in those stores. It's just
Absolutely. That's a
fabulous.
day trip.
Yeah.
So that's where I start. So I get it all back and I lay it all out. And I love this process. I lay it all out. And then I'll just show you here. I don't know if you'll be able to see all my scribbles.
Okay.
Scribbles.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. I do a load of scribbling. And I
Okay.
try a few things out with spare materials that I have that of the same ilk.
Okay.
And then the forms just start to come to me,
Come to
you know.
you.
And
So from it sounds as if that you, because we had a question there from Alice. Thank you for popping that into the description. But she asked if there was any specific like place that you've traveled that like specifically inspired you. So do you think that the inspiration comes after you've seen the fabrics and then you can kind of create the story? Or do you like to like get the story and then create upon that? How does that work for you?
actually, I tell you how it works for me. So I told you I love to people watch.
Yeah.
And I always have a little notebook with me. And that notebook is where it starts.
Okay.
I get inspired by all these individuals that I see, not following the mass market, that's doing their own thing. And so that's kind of where it starts. Then the fabrics, and then I start to create from there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
fantastic.
kind of the flow of my process.
Okay, because also like, I mean, I also like find it's so funny. It's hard to like pinpoint a creative process because also sometimes you find that something else pops up and it completely shuffles the process, like completely.
My mind is, I get told by people that have worked with me, Aviv, your mind is far too busy. You designers are all the same. You have these busy minds. So yeah, I
But
mean, it's
amazing,
tricky
yeah.
because I want to produce everything that I scribble. So
Yeah,
to rein myself back and really
refine
focus.
it down. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where
That's
having the fabrics in front of me, it
yeah.
controls me, because then you know, that's not going to work in that fabric. No, put that one away, and it just helps to keep me focused. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's a well, that's really, and for anyone who's just joined, we're talking to Maria from St Hilaire. Thank you all for coming into our live. Finding out a bit more about her brand and her inspiration and the stances and all the future. So thank you again for all of those of you just joined us. Yeah, so I would like to just talk about the current collection that you've got up and like where that came from and where that stemmed from. There's beautiful patterns and strong colors that we've kind of touched on a bit. Was there like a specific place or a person? I know you said you kind of designed for this woman. Who was this woman in that collection?
This woman in that collection, as I said, she is a leader. She's an individual. She loves
Yeah,
to take care of herself. She never wants to be seen to be put in this bracket where just because of her age, she can no longer be fashionable. Like I said earlier, it's not necessarily about following trend. It's
yeah,
about finding that independent piece from independent brands that
yeah,
where you find something different. So
yeah,
it's not off the high street. This is a woman who likes to travel. And if to go back to your question about what country, do you know, I've got to say, there's two in the main. Tuscany. We went to Tuscany, and the landscape was amazing. The people watching was the
yeah.
best. And of
That's
course,
true.
Paris, I love. That's another great place to watch. But you know, trips around the Caribbean, the beautiful birds, the plants, the colors. And
Yeah,
everywhere we go, I always like to visit an art museum. That is a must.
such a must.
So
Yeah,
all those things inspire me. You know, they kind of stay with me. I'm talking to you about Tuscany. I can still see that
yeah,
scenery, and those beautiful people, so friendly. And
yeah,
everywhere we go, we always manage to get chatting with the locals. We love that, to get
yeah,
immerse ourselves in amongst the crowds and
yeah.
just have those conversations. Unfortunately, sometimes it's tricky because of the language barrier. I'm not going to claim that I can speak every language here, but
Yeah,
we do manage.
yeah, and
So those things inspire me, really. Yeah.
I think also another thing that I think is so amazing about fashion, which is something that you've been touching on, is that culmination and like that melting pot of like culture and people and art and music and landscape. And then you can kind of just transform all of that into one amazing piece of clothing and art. I mean, it's fantastic.
Exactly. I went to an art museum in Japan,
Okay.
and it was absolutely amazing. The
Really?
colors, the plants, the art exhibition that they had on was amazing. You know, you'll notice in my collection, there's a lot of tucks and folds and layers, and I
Yes.
love all that. Funny enough, a lot of these paintings had drawings of drapery. You know, it might have been a tablecloth, but the way it was draped over the table, and
Yeah.
then what women were wearing and how they were wearing it, and just seeing the women on the streets, you know, dressed in their local
Yeah.
attire, but
Yeah.
the colors, the prints,
So
and the
bold.
softness and the naturalness of it all.
Yeah.
Because this current collection is mainly silk and cotton. But you know, people think of cotton as boring, it's just cotton. But it comes in so many different
I
forms.
was
A lot
literally
of
having
people
a
where
conversation
I layer,
about
yeah,
that. It's fantastic cotton. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, do
yeah,
continue.
it does, so it can do so many things. A lot of people, when there's the Japanese cotton voile that I use,
Yeah.
Some people think it's chiffon.
Okay.
So it can be as fluid or as stable as you want, depending on what you're creating. It's very versatile. And you know what? More than anything, it's comfortable.
Exactly.
It lets your body breathe.
And I think especially when creating clothes and stuff, like obviously aesthetics is important, but wearability is such a fundamental aspect, because that's essentially
got to feel comfortable.
Come down to. Yeah, yeah. But anyways, I just like, what is in store for the future of St Hilaire? Like, what's the next collection going to be, if we'd be so lucky to hear?
Okay. So I do have in mind where I'm going to take it, but I do want to explore a little more on the sustainable fabrics that are out there.
Amazing.
And I'm quite keen on this. It's called Pina, I believe, and it's made from pineapple.
Oh, wow.
This fabric is amazing. As far as I know, it comes from the Philippines, and this is where I saw it. This is where I explored it more, asked a lot of questions, but trying to find it, that's my next thing I need to try. It is absolutely amazing. It's washable. It looks like silk. It can look like cotton. So it's very versatile, and it is beautiful to wear.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, so I'm kind of looking at that fabric and again an array of colors to see how I can work that in, because I'm going to do things a little bit different. I want to use my folds and drapes in a slightly different way.
Okay.
Based on something that I created for myself. It's just nice sometimes to play around with ideas and practice it on yourself, so to speak.
Yeah. No,
and I
always do that.
And I came up with something different to what I have now. And I absolutely love it. When I wear that dress, I feel really empowered, ready to go.
Exciting.
So if you're that woman who wants to be independent, you want to feel confident, you want that comfortable, you want that good cut, and that is key. It's comfort, and all those things come under that umbrella of comfort. That cut, the fabric, things like watching the hemlines so that it is appropriate. You know, you get to a certain age and you don't want to show as much as you probably did in your 20s. That's not to say that a 20-year-old doesn't feel like that as well. Do you see where I'm going? So,
finding that like functionality, and I think that's also another thing to say, especially for like sustainable fashion. I mean, the fashion industry has many realms and different spheres and access to so many different points. But I think moving forward with like ready to wear, which is the kind of daily garments that we wear, I think something that you're doing so amazingly well is finding that perfect cut and that comfort in the fashion, because so often we buy clothes that don't fit us right. So what do? We either just, like, people can chuck them away or leave them in a cupboard, and it just goes to waste. So I think the more that we focus on, I mean, sustainable fabrics is an amazing thing to also look into, but like when it comes to the functionality of a clothes, the more thought that's put into how much we can get the most use out of it, like, just assures that it won't be going to waste no matter what happens.
Absolutely.
And it's just like a small little thing that we can all like play a part in, because I mean, access to these more refined fabrics, it's like, I think it's something to definitely look into, but it's also something that's harder, and I mean, taking into all these different accounts. So I mean, that's really, really fantastic, and I literally can't wait to see what's to come.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to get stuck in, actually. But you know, one of the other important things for me anyway was, I like the idea of knowing that I have a relationship with my manufacturer. Do you really know how I want this garment to look? Do you really know how I want it to finish? The finish on each piece for me is key. All the little things that help to make that garment comfortable, to make you feel confident when you wear it. You know, all those little details. I need to have a conversation with you. So hence the reason I use a UK manufacturer. and they are a sustainable manufacturer.
That's
They
fantastic.
only deal with the small design independent brands like myself. So I do know the labor behind my label.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
that's
really
very
important to me. Ethics,
important.
it's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. And
So,
to just finalize these things, what would be your top styling tips, whether it be your clothes or the way you approach fashion in general? Spill the beans for all of us, please.
okay, I suppose three things here. If you are buying from the high street, top tip. I've shared this with so many of my friends who ask me to go shopping with them to help them. Never buy anything that is too tight. Don't get caught up on sizes. Mass produced garments are tricky. So if you are insistent on sticking to that size 10 because you're a size 10, don't just try one. If it's a little tight here or there or a little loose here or there, try another one.
Okay.
Because they will vary. Because don't forget they're cut on mass. And as you get to the bottom layer, it's going to be different. So try different ones, and that can make
or just
a difference.
try small brands because you know it's not mass produced. Amazing.
There you are. Top tip, exactly.
Yeah.
So always, and this is as I said to you, I cut for comfort.
Yeah.
So I've taken the woman's form in mind, big time.
That's amazing.
So it gives me so much pleasure when I see a customer put that dress on. It sits nicely in the back. It sits nicely on the hips.
Yeah.
The length is good, and you know, and then the difference on their faces. That's the best bit for me. I wish I could do that more.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's been so amazing to chat to you. Thank you so much for taking time out to share the amazing story behind St Hilaire. Your designs are so beautiful, and as I say, I can't wait to see the next collection. I'll be keeping an eye out. But for everyone that's been watching, thank you guys so much all for tuning in. St Hilaire is available on loandesignclub.com, so be sure to check her out there. We've got brand descriptions and loads of beautiful products, so be sure to read about the amazing designer Maria and her beautiful designs. Check out her social media because she's got such fabulous posts. And let's all stay up to date with the progress of this amazing brand. Thank you so much for chatting to us. It's been
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I hope you all have
so
a fantastic day. Thank you so much. Hey.
Yeah, and keep safe. Stay home. Shop at home.
Shop at home. Support independence. And shop Hilaire. All available on loandesignclub.com. Bye, everyone.
So bye now. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much again for tuning in. Head to our website, loandesignclub.com, and find more LDCFM podcasts, or discover more about our independent designers online.